I'm watching my sister take a photo with our mother. Claudia adjusts Mom's hair, tilts her chin slightly, moves her hands into a more photogenic position, takes 50 shots to get the perfect angle. Mom doesn't recognize either of us, hasn't recognized her own daughters in 6 months. Claudia posts the best photo an hour later. Caption about the sacred privilege of caregiving, about being present for the hard moments, about unconditional love, gets 800 likes in the first 20 minutes. I spent this morning changing Mom's diaper while she screamed and hit me. Spent last night awake because she tried to leave the house at 2 in the morning wearing nothing but her nightgown. Spent 3 years of my life keeping her alive and clean and medicated. Claudia spent 3 months taking photographs. My mother has late-stage Alzheimer's. She owns a house worth $800,000. Claudia moved back home 2 months ago to help with caregiving. Except Claudia's version of helping involves reading poetry during Mom's calm afternoon hours and posting about spiritual growth. Claudia doesn't change diapers, doesn't handle medications, doesn't deal with the violence or the confusion or the 3am wandering. But Claudia does meet with Mom's lawyer, does position herself as the devoted caregiver, does set herself up to become executor when Mom dies. Here's what nobody tells you about caregiving. The person who does the work gets the exhaustion, and the person who performs the care gets the credit. I'd spent 3 years keeping my mother alive. My sister spent 3 months taking photos. Guess which one the lawyer believed? This is how I exposed my sister's performance and learned that sometimes you have to let people reveal exactly who they are. Let me tell you what 3 years of caregiving looks like. Not the Instagram version, the real one. I'm 45 years old. I used to manage a restaurant downtown. Decent money, good hours, a life that belonged to me. Then my mother started forgetting things. Simple things first. Where she put her keys, what day it was, whether she'd eaten lunch. The neurologist diagnosed Alzheimer's 5 years ago. My sister Claudia was in Los Angeles chasing influencer dreams. I was the one who took Mom to appointments, the one who researched memory care facilities, the one who rearranged my life to accommodate doctor visits and medication schedules. For the first 2 years, I managed from a distance, hired part-time caregivers, checked in daily, kept working. It was exhausting, but survivable. Then Mom's decline accelerated. She fired 3 caregivers in 2 months, started wandering at night, called the police saying strangers were in her house. The strangers were the caregivers I'd hired. 3 years ago, I quit my job and moved into Mom's house. Became her full-time caregiver. No salary. Living on her Social Security and savings. No days off, no life of my own. My daily routine. Wake up at 6 because Mom is already awake and confused about where she is. Help her to the bathroom. Change her if she didn't make it in time. Give her medications. 7 pills crushed into applesauce because she can't swallow them whole anymore. Make breakfast she'll partially eat. Clean up when she throws the rest. Prevent her from leaving the house. Bathe her while she fights me. Change her clothes. More medications at lunch. More bathroom trips. More confusion. More cleaning. Dinner, evening medications. Put her to bed by 8. Sleep with one ear open because she wanders. Get up at 2 a.m. when she tries to leave. Start again at 6. Every single day for 3 years. Meanwhile, my sister Claudia was in Los Angeles teaching yoga and posting inspirational content. She visited twice a year, stayed in hotels, came by for afternoon visits when Mom was calm and medicated and sitting quietly, took photos, posted emotional captions about cherishing family, got hundreds of sympathetic comments, never changed a diaper, never handled a violent episode, never saw Mom at 3 in the morning confused and terrified. Claudia has always been the special one, the pretty one, the charismatic one who got away with everything. Our parents favored her without ever admitting it. Claudia got money for her LA move. For yoga teacher training, for every dream she chased, I stayed local, went to community college, worked my way up in restaurant management, did what was expected, got no recognition for it. This is not new. This is the story of our entire lives. But I accepted it. Someone had to be the responsible one. Someone had to take care of Mom. Claudia was never going to do it. Then 2 months ago, Claudia called, said she was moving home, wanted to be there for Mom's final months, wanted to help me, wanted to spend quality time with family before it was too late. I was cautiously hopeful. Maybe Claudia had grown up. Maybe she'd actually contribute. Maybe I'd finally get some help. Claudia moved into her old bedroom, the nice one with the attached bathroom, started helping immediately. Except Claudia's version of helping meant sitting with Mom during calm afternoon hours, reading poetry Mom doesn't understand, playing music, doing gentle yoga stretches, taking endless photographs of these tender moments, posting them on Instagram with captions about the caregiving journey and sacred bonds. Her 60,000 followers loved it, called her inspiring, called her devoted, praised her for sacrificing her life to care for her mother. Claudia didn't sacrifice anything. Claudia curated content. She didn't wake up at 2 a.m. when Mom was wandering, didn't change diapers, said she wasn't comfortable with that, didn't handle medications, said she wasn't good with medical stuff, didn't deal with Mom's violent episodes, said she couldn't handle the physical confrontation, didn't do laundry or cooking or cleaning or any of the actual work. When I pointed this out, Claudia said she was helping in other ways, providing emotional support, spiritual comfort, being present. Said not all caregiving is physical labor. Said I was too focused on tasks and missing the deeper connection. I bit my tongue. Kept doing the work while Claudia staged photo shoots. Then last week I ran into Mom's estate lawyer at the grocery store. He mentioned he'd had a good meeting with Claudia, said it was wonderful that Claudia was so involved in Mom's care planning. My stomach dropped. What meeting? I asked casually what they'd discussed. He said Claudia had questions about executor duties, power of attorney, estate management, normal questions for primary caregivers, primary caregiver. Claudia had positioned herself as the primary caregiver. I came home and confronted her, asked about the meeting. Claudia was casual, said she just wanted to understand the legal situation, be helpful, take some burden off me. I asked why she didn't mention it. She said she didn't think it was a big deal. I asked what she told the lawyer about caregiving. She said she explained she'd moved home to help care for Mom, that she's here every day providing support. Technically true, completely misleading. I realized what was happening. Claudia was building a narrative. 60,000 Instagram followers witnessing her devotion. Lawyer meetings establishing her as the involved daughter. All of it positioning her to become executor when Mom dies. Mom's house is worth $800,000. The will splits everything 50-50 between us, but the executor controls everything until the estate settles. Controls the house, controls the money, controls every decision. And Claudia has documented proof that she's the devoted caregiver while I'm just... What? The bitter sister who does the unglamorous work nobody photographs? I looked up Mom's power of attorney documents, public record. Found out Mom updated them 2 months ago, right when Claudia moved home. New documents name both of us as co-agents, but the lawyer's notes say primary contact is Claudia per family agreement. There was no family agreement. Claudia manipulated this while I was busy keeping Mom alive. I'm 45 years old with $2,400 in my bank account, no job to go back to, no home of my own. 3 years of my life spent caregiving with nothing to show for it except exhaustion and resentment. Claudia has sponsorships and followers and a documented caregiving journey she can leverage into her next opportunity. And when Mom dies, maybe 3 months from now based on how fast she's declining, Claudia will control everything. Unless I do something about it. I started documenting everything, not for Instagram, for evidence. Monday morning, Claudia posted a photo series of her reading poetry to Mom, caption about finding beauty in difficult moments, hashtags about caregiving and unconditional love, 400 likes in an hour. Reality, I'd changed Mom's diaper 3 times by noon, handled a medication crisis when Mom refused to swallow her pills and spit them across the kitchen, cleaned up when Mom threw her lunch plate because she didn't recognize the food. Claudia read poetry for 30 minutes while Mom stared blankly at the wall. Tuesday afternoon, Claudia posted a video of her doing gentle arm stretches with Mom, talked about physical therapy through mindfulness, 600 views by evening. Reality. I spent 2 hours that morning convincing Mom to take a shower. Mom screamed, hit me, fought every step. I got her clean while she sobbed and called me a stranger. Claudia showed up at 2 p.m. when Mom was calm and exhausted, did 5 minutes of arm stretches, filmed the whole thing. Wednesday evening, Claudia posted an artistic photo of herself looking thoughtfully out a window. Caption about the exhaustion of caregiving and finding strength in vulnerability. Reality. I was awake until 3 a.m. because Mom tried to leave the house in her nightgown. Thought she had to get to work, to a job she hadn't had in 20 years. I spent an hour calming her down and getting her back to bed. Claudia slept through the entire thing with her door closed. I started keeping a notebook. Times I handled medical issues, times Claudia refused to help because she had a headache or needed self-care time or wasn't comfortable with confrontation. Written log hidden in my bedroom, but I knew a notebook wouldn't be enough. Claudia had 60,000 witnesses saying she was an amazing caregiver. I had exhaustion and a list of complaints that made me sound bitter. I needed something undeniable. I looked up Mom's original will. Public record once probate starts. Written 8 years ago when Mom was healthy. Splits everything 50-50 between Claudia and me. Names me as executor. I was the responsible local daughter, the obvious choice. Then I requested copies of the updated power of attorney documents. As Mom's daughter, I had the right to see them. The new POA named both of us as co-agents, both signatures required for major decisions. But the lawyer's notes were revealing. Primary contact, Claudia, per family agreement. Claudia to be consulted first on all medical and financial decisions. There was no family agreement. Claudia had told the lawyer whatever she needed to tell him to establish herself as the primary contact. I realized documenting the reality wasn't enough. The lawyer already believed Claudia's version, already saw her as the devoted daughter who'd moved home to help. I needed to show him the truth, make him see with his own eyes who actually did the work. I called Claudia into the living room one afternoon while Mom was napping, told her we needed to talk about the POA changes. Claudia's explanation was smooth. Mom had been confused about who was helping her. Claudia explained she'd moved home specifically to provide care. Mom wanted to make sure Claudia had legal authority to make decisions. Made Mom feel secure having both daughters officially involved. I asked if Claudia mentioned that I'd been the sole caregiver for 3 years while she did nothing. Claudia's face tightened, said that was unfair and inaccurate. She'd been present in other ways: emotional support, spiritual guidance, video calls from LA. Just because I focused on physical tasks didn't mean she hadn't contributed to Mom's well-being. I lost my temper, started listing everything I actually do: the diapers, the medications at 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. and 8 p.m., the sleepless nights, the violence when Mom doesn't recognize me and thinks I'm an intruder, the degradation of watching your mother disappear while you wipe her like an infant. Asked Claudia what spiritual guidance she provided during any of that. Claudia started crying, said I'd always resented her. Always made her feel inadequate. Maybe she handled caregiving differently, but her way was valid too. Her followers understood that, the lawyer understood that. Maybe I was just angry someone finally appreciated what I was contributing. I stared at my sister and realized she actually believed this. Actually believed her Instagram posts and her 30-minute afternoon visits equaled 3 years of round-the-clock care. Believed her performance was equivalent to my sacrifice. That night, Claudia mentioned casually that she'd been talking to the lawyer about updating the executor designation. said it might make sense to have co-executors given how involved they both were now. Or maybe just Claudia, since she had a more flexible schedule. Said I'd probably want to get back to my own life after Mom passed. Wouldn't want to be burdened with estate management. I understood completely. Claudia was making her move, positioning herself to take full control when Mom died. I lay awake that night doing impossible math. When Mom dies, the house goes into the estate. Executor controls it. Could force an immediate sale. I'd have nowhere to live. I checked my bank account for the 100th time. $2,400. 3 years of caregiving, and I had $2,400 total. No job, no home, no prospects. I'm 45 years old, and I have nothing. Claudia has 60,000 followers, has sponsorships, has a documented caregiving narrative she can leverage for speaking engagements or a book deal or whatever comes next for Instagram, grief influencers. And she's going to control an $800,000 estate while I'm left with nothing but exhaustion and bitterness. I had to act fast. Mom's health was declining rapidly. The doctor said maybe 3 months. Once Mom died, the executor would be named, and I'd lose any leverage I had. I needed to expose Claudia's performance before it was too late. But how? She had thousands of witnesses saying she was devoted. I had a notebook and resentment. Then I remembered the lawyer, the one who believed Claudia was the primary caregiver. If I could show him the truth, the real daily caregiving, maybe I could prevent Claudia from taking the executor role. But it had to be undeniable, had to be something he saw with his own eyes, not something I told him, not accusations that made me look like the bitter, jealous sister. I needed to let Claudia reveal herself. I called the lawyer's office the next morning, told his assistant that Claudia and I would love to have him over for dinner, discuss estate planning in a comfortable family setting. Would tomorrow night work? The assistant checked his schedule, said tomorrow at 6 would be perfect. I didn't tell Claudia about the dinner until that morning, mentioned casually over breakfast that the lawyer happened to have an opening and I'd invited him for dinner. Thought it would be nice to discuss everything in a relaxed setting rather than his office. Claudia couldn't say no without looking suspicious. She agreed, immediately started planning the menu, what wine to serve, how to set the table, treating it like a dinner party instead of what it actually was, a test. I deliberately scheduled dinner for 6 p.m. Mom's worst time. Sundowning hits between 6 and 8 every evening. Agitation, confusion, violence, the hardest hours of every single day. Claudia had no idea. She'd never been present during sundowning, always busy with her evening yoga practice or content creation or self-care routine. She was about to find out what real caregiving looked like, and the lawyer was going to watch her refuse to do it. I was using my mother's condition as a strategic weapon, using her worst moments to expose my sister. It was manipulative and calculated and probably made me exactly as bad as Claudia. But I was done being noble, done sacrificing everything while Claudia took photos. Tomorrow night, the lawyer would see the truth, and Claudia would finally face consequences. The lawyer arrived at 6 p.m. sharp. Claudia had changed outfits 3 times, arranged fresh flowers on the table, set out the good dishes. She was hosting a performance. I deliberately timed everything for Mom's worst hours: sundowning, agitation, the reality of late-stage Alzheimer's that never made it into Claudia's Instagram posts. We sat down to dinner. The lawyer made polite conversation about the neighborhood and the weather. Claudia was charming, talked about the privilege of caring for Mom, the sacred duty of being present for her final months, how meaningful it was to give back to the woman who raised them. Mom sat at the table blank-faced, didn't touch her food, stared at nothing. 6:20. Mom started getting agitated, pushed her plate away, tried to stand up, made distressed sounds. I moved to help her. Claudia continued talking to the lawyer about how challenging these moments were, how much patience caregiving required. Mom pulled away from me, getting more upset, started yelling, angry, confused sounds that weren't words, hit at my hands. I calmly redirected her, spoke in the soothing voice I'd developed over 3 years, asked Claudia to help me get Mom to the bathroom. Claudia looked uncomfortable, said maybe we should wait until Mom calmed down. Mom was not calming down, was escalating. Pulled at her clothes, started crying. Needed to be changed immediately. I asked Claudia again, please help me get her to the bathroom. Claudia glanced at the lawyer, then at Mom, who was now trying to remove her pants at the table, said she wasn't comfortable with physical restraint. Maybe I should handle it since Mom responded better to me. The lawyer was watching, really watching. I took Mom to the bedroom alone, changed her while she fought me, cleaned her while she cried, calmed her down from a full meltdown. Took 30 minutes. When I returned, Claudia was entertaining the lawyer with a story about lessons she'd learned from the caregiving journey, about presence and mindfulness and letting go of ego. 7:15, Mom needed her evening medications, 7 pills crushed into applesauce because she couldn't swallow them whole anymore. I prepared everything, sat with Mom patiently while she tried to spit it out, got it all down eventually. The lawyer asked Claudia if she knew Mom's medication schedule. Claudia said not off the top of her head, said I handled that side of things. He asked what time Mom typically woke up. Claudia said she wasn't sure exactly, early. But I was better with the schedule. He asked about Mom's mobility limitations. Claudia was vague, said Mom had good days and bad days, depended on her energy. The lawyer turned to me. I rattled off specifics. Mom could walk short distances with support, needed wheelchair for anything longer, couldn't do stairs, high fall risk at night, required someone within earshot 24/7. The lawyer's expression shifted. He was putting pieces together. By 8 p.m., Mom was exhausted, needed to be put to bed, full routine, pajamas, bathroom assistance, teeth brushing, she fought, tucking her in, nightlight on, door open so I could hear if she wandered. Claudia stayed at the table, didn't help with any of it, made conversation with the lawyer about how important self-care was for caregivers, how you couldn't pour from an empty cup. When I returned, the lawyer thanked us for dinner, said it had been very informative. He could see the family dynamics clearly now. He looked at Claudia directly, said caregiving was really about the unglamorous moments nobody saw, the daily grind. The kind of documentation that mattered was the kind that didn't go on Instagram. Claudia's smile froze on her face. The lawyer told me he'd be in touch about executor designation. Left. Claudia turned on me the second the door closed, accused me of sabotaging her, of deliberately making her look bad, of being vindictive and jealous and spiteful. My response was cold. Said I didn't do anything except let her show exactly who she is. Said she was welcome to keep posting her spiritual caregiving content. But the lawyer knew the truth now. Claudia grabbed her keys and left, got in her car, drove back to LA that night. Mom died 2 weeks later, peacefully in her sleep. I was there holding her hand. Claudia wasn't. She flew in for the funeral, posted an emotional tribute with old photos, got thousands of sympathetic comments, gave a tearful eulogy about sacred bonds, said nothing to me beyond logistics. The will reading confirmed me as executor. The lawyer's notes indicated that after the dinner, he was confident about who should manage the estate. Claudia tried to contest. The lawyer shut it down immediately. The estate took 4 months to settle. The house sold. Proceeds split 50-50 as the will specified. I got my $400,000. It's more money than I ever thought I'd have. It's also the exact price of 3 years of my life. Claudia's last Instagram post showed her at Mom's funeral. Caption about how caregiving changed her and taught her about unconditional love. 3,000 likes. Her followers will never know she refused to change a single diaper. Will never know I sacrificed everything while she curated content. I don't care anymore. Claudia can have her performance, her followers, her narrative about spiritual growth and sacred duties. I have $400,000. I have the knowledge that Mom spent her final years actually cared for, not just photographed. Some victories aren't public, they're private and exhausted and bitter, but they're still victories.